Greetings all and welcome to April. I'm Jo Henderson and I work as part of the marketing team here at Dux-Soup. And here with me today is Giles Garnett, our Head of Professional Services, who's shortly going to give you the lowdown on our three most recent integrations with MS Teams, Slack and HighLevel. But before I hand over to him, for those who are unfamiliar with the platform in front of you, you'll see on your screen there's a resource window, or we have a resource window on the left with some useful articles for you to refer to. These links also remain live in our on-demand version, so you don't need to download anything there. We've got 3 buttons on the right of your screen for you to register for a free trial if you're not already a user. And you can also register for the next webinar on the 5th of May, which I'll let you know now is all about creating first-degree campaigns with Dux-Soup. You can also book yourself a 30-minute booster session if you're struggling with anything and you would like a one-to-one, obviously Dux-Soup related, not just like anything. As I mentioned briefly, this session will be available on demand, which means it's being recorded and you'll be sent the link tomorrow. In the meantime, if you have any questions during this session, just ask them in the question box on your screen and we will get to them either during the session or at the end. And don't forget to use the reaction buttons as well, because it's always nice for us to see a heart emoji or a thumbs up or a smiley face so that we know that that you're still with us. Right, without further ado, I'm going to hand over to Giles. We can get cracking.
Thanks ever so much, Jo, and good morning, good afternoon, or indeed good evening to you wherever you happen to be in the world. And welcome once again to another Dux-Soup webinar. I hope everyone who's been able to has had an enjoyable long weekend, if you've been celebrating over the weekend. Today we are going to talk about our 3 most recently added integrations. So over the last year or so, I guess, we've got the Slack integration, which we released, I think it was towards the end of 2025. We've got the Teams integration and the HighLevel integration, sometimes known as GHL or GoHighLevel, but I think the official documentation is HighLevel. So we've got direct integrations built on these 3 platforms now. What we try to do with all our integrations, we try to standardize them as much as possible so that there is, continuity. And if you're moving from one platform, one CRM to another, there are some familiar, should we say, strands that you can see. Of course, with all CRMs and different collaboration platforms, there's different terminology, whether it's notes or messages, whatever it may be. But hopefully we can sort of piece together things today to help you understand. Now, anybody who is new to Dux-Soup, what is Dux-Soup? In case there's anybody on our list of attendees today, or anybody who's watching this and saying, well, what's Dux-Soup? What is it actually? What is the tool? Dux-Soup's Chrome extension, which is you can use to mimic human behavior on the LinkedIn platform. And that can be the free version of LinkedIn, the Sales Navigator, Recruiter, whatever it may be. Basically, with Dux-Soup, the original intention with Dux-Soup was to automate repetitive actions on the LinkedIn platform to free up time for you to be able to do things that are more productive with your time. Essentially what Dux-Soup does, it mimics the clicks on the mouse. You find a list of people that you want to reach out to, and then you decide what actions you want to perform. And that, from a very high level, is what Dux-Soup does. We have 3 paid versions of Dux-Soup. And if you go to our website, and I'm sure the links are all in the resources, we've got a Pro, a Turbo, and a Cloud edition. And what we're going to be talking today, of course, because we're talking integrations, all of the integrations relate to both the Turbo and the Cloud editions of Dux-Soup. So what are we talking about and why? So what was I said just already, then we're making use of the Dux-Soup API, and we're continuing to add to those integrations that we have. And these 3 specific ones were brought on board because of user demand. We have a feedback board where you can provide your own feedback and request your own features or your own requirements with regards to integrations. But these 3 things in particular came up, and there's a couple of reasons why Slack and Teams were particularly prevalent as well. We'll show you that in a moment. These are all 2-way integrations. And what do we mean by a 2-way integration? What we mean is that data flows from LinkedIn into your platform via Dux-Soup, and then from within your chosen platform, you can then trigger actions that Dux-Soup will perform on LinkedIn as well. So it's kind of 2-way. You've got data coming from one end and feeding into the other, and then you can trigger actions from there to impact what's happening on LinkedIn. Now, the Slack and Teams integrations especially came around because of requirements around handling multiple accounts, especially those users who are maybe agency owners, that sort of thing. They're managing multiple LinkedIn accounts together, and they want a nice, efficient way of being able to manage an inflow of messages and that sort of thing. And that's primarily why we looked at those collaboration platforms, Slack and Teams. The CRMs, we've been doing the CRMs for quite a long time. I think our first one's like 6 years ago now. I think the Pipedrive one was around 6 years ago that we first integrated with Pipedrive, and then we've had a number of others, SharpSpring, HubSpot, etc., follow on behind. Cool. So hopefully that sort of sets the scene a little bit. What we're going to do, we're going to go through each of these three, and we're going to not spend ages on them because I don't want to keep you all here for hours and hours. Hopefully what I'll share you is useful. We'll talk about the setup of each of them, how to configure and what your options are, and then how to handle prospects as and when they arrive in your chosen platform. So what I'm now going to do is, through the magic of the internet, hopefully, let me make sure I do the right thing here. Let's share my entire screen. That's probably going to be the easiest thing to do. There we go. Hopefully that has come through, and you can see my screen now. You can see a LinkedIn account that's sitting here. Is that working okay, Joe?
Yeah, that's perfect.
Cool, excellent. That's always a good start. Right, so what we're going to do is we'll start with Slack. What we're going to do is we're going to walk through how we install it and then what it looks like when you do it. We're going to start in the Dux dash. So let's just do the process from the beginning. We're going to click on our extension icon and we go to the Dux dash. I've got Dux-Soup Turbo here. And remember, all of these integrations work with both Turbo and Cloud. What we'll see here is within our dashboard environment, down the bottom on the left-hand side, we've got an app connections button here. And this is where you can go in and install each of your accounts accordingly. Now, if you wanted to install your Slack account, of course, you've got your Slack environment already set up. Now, I've also created a channel within my Slack environment called Giles LinkedIn Responses. You can see all of our different channels here. So I've selected the channel I want it in. I'm going to have notifications coming into me as the user within my Slack environment that there's a message appeared. And then we can see down here, I've got some other options as well to automatically confirm actions or only process enrolled prospects. So in other words, have they gone into a Dux-Soup campaign or not? So sometimes you only want to handle campaign-driven integration messages. Now, if I pop over to, if I go grab my Slack screen now, and there we go. That's rather, there we go. Try and bring that into view. There we are. So I've got here my Giles LinkedIn Responses channel here that I've created within my Slack environment. And what we can see here is various messages from people. So here I've got a message from Sebastian. Hi Darren, that came into the mailbox, my mailbox on my LinkedIn account, on the LinkedIn account I was using for this particular one. And what we see here for all of these messages that come in, we see where they work, what they do. That's all grabbed from LinkedIn. We can see the response time here. That's when that response came in. There's the response there. I can click here to look at that prospect's profile. So I can click there. It's tagged me because it said, yeah, there's Giles in Slack. It's told me that. And I can even click here to see the message thread if I want to. So if I clicked here, I'd be able to go into LinkedIn, see the message thread. Now, once this message is here, I've got some options at the bottom to decide what happens next. And we can see here, I can blacklist a prospect, and maybe it's a buddy of mine, I don't want to automate them. I can qualify in, qualify out. Those are in line with the Dux-Soup dashboard settings that you've got, and we can show you those support articles around that as well if you need to. I can reply from here. I can even look at the conversation. I can enroll them to a campaign, unenroll them, or switch them to a new campaign. Now, this was just a manual conversation here that I was having, and I can, well, let's just ping a message back to them. Let's hit reply. Nice one, Seb. There we go. We will send that message through to Sebastian, and that will get processed by Dux-Soup. Now we can follow the flow of that. If I just move Slack out of the way a second, and we go here to our queued activity, what we will have just done here within our Dux-Soup environment, there we are. I've just queued up there. You're 11 minutes past 5 my time. There we are. There is the message that I've just queued up, and that is how Dux-Soup is now handling that message that's going through there. So very simply from within my Slack environment, there we go, go back here. I've seen the responses come in here, and I've just done a reply. Now, similarly with my co-presenter, Joe, there we are. I've got Joe's response. Hi, Darren, me too, see you there later. And that was in response to looking forward to the webinar this afternoon. So again, exactly the same here. I can handle that response through here and then just take that message on. Now, if you're managing multiple accounts, of course, like you see here, we've got several of my colleagues, we've got Heidi and Jenny, etc., etc. You can create a new channel per LinkedIn account, Dux-Soup account that you're handling, and you can then handle all of those responses nice and neatly from within the Slack environment. And some people, like, can then don't have to swap between Dux-Soup LinkedIn accounts all the time. You can literally just go in and monitor all of the activities that are coming in, all of those responses that are coming in to the Slack environment, and then leave that to work accordingly. So that's Slack. Fairly simple, very straightforward, very, very easy to follow. Basically, if you go into our support pages, and now I've got to try and go to the right place first time, there we go. Go into our support pages, and I think these resources are in the knowledge in the resources section of the webinar. We go here to our integrations, and we go down here. We can see Slack. It explains here exactly how to install the Slack connector and then the overview of the integration. So it's all documented here, and I've got to say that this was super straightforward to install and get up and running. Right, now let's move on to the next one. Let's try Microsoft Teams. Now, similarly, we have documentation here to support all of this, how to install the Teams connector, etc., etc. Now, there's a couple of little nuances which you need to be aware with Microsoft Teams. You need to be part of an organization, of course, and you need to be the admin, because there are a couple of things in here. So here within the admin of my Microsoft Teams environment, what I had to do was here under my permission policies, I had to allow custom apps to be installed. Dux-Soup is not yet in the marketplace here, so we can't find it here. What we have to do is we actually have to go into how to follow the instructions here. Now, you go in and you can add your file, etc., etc. It allows you to go in here. There you are. It goes into manage apps, and what you need to do is you need to upload a new, and this is the file here that you need to upload, the Dux-Soup connector for Teams. So if we pop back to my manage apps here, so you see the top right here, we can upload new app. We can then upload, I've got here, Dux-Soup connector for Teams. You install that there, and then you make that available to everybody. Once you've done that, then once again, what you can do is you can then configure things accordingly. And we can see here, my Teams account has been added. Again, it's enabled. You can select the Teams channel where you want to post your response notifications. Now, I've only got the one channel here, so I don't have a drop-down list of very many channels. But if I now go into my Microsoft Teams environment, we can see here under my general conversations here, again, exactly the same message exchanges here from Joe. There you are. There's hi, Darren. Me too. See you later there. And further down here, I can also see there you are, the message from Seb as well. So what we can do now, let's message Joe back from here. Let's go in here and say, thanks, Joe. Hope it's can't type now. Typing under pressure. Hope it's going well. There we go, submit. And now what we've done there, again, we've queued up a message to go through to my prospect in LinkedIn. We've got these same similar buttons here that we had in Slack. We can blacklist, we can enroll, etc., etc. here. We'll now pop back to our dashboard, and we'll have a look again at the queued activity. And there we are. So these haven't been sent yet because I've actually got everything turned off right now, because I wanted to show you the possibilities here for queuing up these messages. We've got a nice one, Seb, queued up to go. And then with Joe, there we are. We've got that one queued up to go as well. So as and when Dux-Soup is active, these will get processed. Now notice here, they are being queued up under just the default campaign because they're being triggered by the API through the integrations. Your default campaign needs to be on in order to run. You're not enrolling them in the default campaign. It's just the mechanism that Dux-Soup uses to send those particular messages. So again, very simple. Let's go back to our dashboard and our app connections. You decide, you choose the account, you select on the channel that you want those responses to appear. And then again, you can also cherry pick that maybe you only want to process enrolled prospects, people who are in Dux-Soup campaigns, etc., etc. Now I've turned these particular ones off. They're on by default, I believe. So that's there because I'm doing this manually. Now, of course, normally you'd be doing this automatically. You'd be enrolling hundreds of people into a campaign, and you wouldn't be waiting for little single actions to come through. You'd be expecting a lot of messages to come through. But the idea here is you can then handle them in bulk from within Slack or Teams, and really, really sort of like leverage the power of those collaboration platforms. And the other thing is, anyone who you give permission to handle those, to have visibility of those channels, can respond on your behalf. So that's where you can also delegate actions as well. So that's quite a neat piece of putting the part of the jigsaw there. Allowing others to, you can delegate some actions to other people if you give them permission to access those particular channels. So we've done Slack, we've done Teams, and we can always cover some questions if I get through GoHighLevel or HighLevel reasonably quickly. We will have some time for some questions at the end as well. Now, HighLevel. I'm trying to reset my brain now to remember how we do HighLevel. So I've got a HighLevel account just set up here at the top of my screen, and we'll go to that in a moment. Now, when you install the HighLevel connector, once again, just the starting point is to go into the support pages, go to the HighLevel section here, and follow the installation instructions here that we have. You go into the Dux dash, you choose the new connection, you go to the HighLevel actions, and you follow the process through, and then you will then see within the app marketplace that you will have installed Dux-Soup. So here I've got it installed here. And then if we go into HighLevel and we go to the app marketplace here, hopefully in a moment, all things being well, again, if I look at installed apps here, we will see here, there we are, I've got the Dux-Soup connector here installed, and it gives me all of the details here as well. If I want to have a look at it in more detail, I can see all of the associated documentation, etc., here as well. So we've installed, we've not installed here live, but we can see how straightforward it is to install. Now, you've got the possibility with all of these to enable or disable. You can turn them on or off. Now, one of the things you have here, and it's the same with all of our CRM integrations, you choose which prospects make it to your CRM environment. And this, I think, is fairly self-explanatory if you're familiar with LinkedIn and Dux-Soup, perhaps. What I've got mine set up here is create and update contacts from connected profiles. So what I'm saying here is I only want first degree connections to make it into my CRM. Now, there are other options available here. So I could create and update contacts from all profiles. In other words, any profile I visit, Dux-Soup will bring them into my CRM. Now I've then got some variations on that. I can have tagged profiles, connected and tagged profiles, or even turn it off. Now in this case, I'm just interested in first degree connections, people I'm already connected to, making it into my CRM. What you'll also see here is I've got this one ticked, update contact after connecting. And what that does is that anybody who accepts my connection request, Dux-Soup will then go, oh yeah, it's doing that check every now and then during the course of the day, who is connecting with me. Anybody who's new joins my network, what Dux-Soup will then do is say, yeah, that's a new connection, queue up an auto visit, they're a first degree connection, and when Dux-Soup then visits them as part of that process, will bring them dynamically straight into your CRM with the latest and greatest contact details that are visible in LinkedIn. Of course, now that person's a nice, shiny, new first-degree connection, so you've got a good chance of seeing contact information, depending upon their privacy settings, of course. Excuse me. And then, we can then see those people appearing in our CRM. Now you can see here there are some other options. Again, we can choose to only bring in people from campaigns. We can choose to update the name from LinkedIn, because sometimes people adapt their name. You know them as maybe Seb or Sebastian, for example, those sorts of things. But you can also here see create notes for inbound LinkedIn messages. So in the same as Slack and Teams, the difference here, we're going to see those messages coming in, and then again, we're going to be able to handle those messages from within HighLevel. The difference, of course, with HighLevel and those other two collaboration environments that we're looking at there, is that within Slack and Teams, it doesn't matter if that person exists, the data for them exists. It's literally just grabbing the data out of LinkedIn, presenting it in a channel, and then you handle it there. Of course, with HighLevel, or with any CRM, you need to have created a contact, and then the message can be mapped against that contact. And in this case, it's created as notes for inbound LinkedIn messages there. So if we now go back to my HighLevel environment here, and what we'll see here, we've got a couple of things that we can look at here. There's a couple of different places that we can look at our contacts. We've got here, if we click on our contacts, we can see here I've got Seb and Joe, various other things here, with regard to a few other connections here. And you'll see here tags. Now, don't be confused. These tags here are actually GoHighLevel tags, GHL tags, or HighLevel tags. I don't know. HighLevel, GoHighLevel, who knows? These are tags within this environment. They are different to Dux-Soup tags. If we look at, for example, Joe here, open this profile here, and we scroll down here. Now I'm going to try and remember where it was. Somewhere there is Dux-Soup tags as well. There it is, yeah, Dux-Soup tags. So GHL, I put a GHL tag, a GoHighLevel tag on Joe's profile earlier, in order to show that you have then a difference between the HighLevel tags here and then the Dux-Soup tags as well. Now, Dux-Soup will bring across any publicly visible contact information for those prospects, of course, absolutely. And what it will also do is it will bring across those messages. So as we saw earlier, we saw those message exchanges that we'd had before. If I now go to Joe's profile again here, and I click on the notes, we can there see the message exchange. Hi there, Joe, looking forward to the webinar this afternoon. Me too, see you there later. So we can see here the messages here. We can actually go straight to that message as a URL here. And then there's different ways of being able to handle these messages once they're here. And what you'll see down here on the left-hand side, there's a Dux-Soup Live button. And this Dux-Soup Live button is actually where we can go to handle responses. From within here, I could, for example, you see there's Ben from one of our previous webinars. I can select multiple people here, and we can see here, I can message these people, I can enroll them into a campaign. And what we'll do is actually, in this case, we'll take just Joe as an example. We'll hit message here. All is going well so far. Fingers crossed, hey? There we are. So now I've just queued up a message to be sent to Joe there. Again, from here within my HighLevel account, within the CRM, I'm now handling that message, and we can then double check that again. So this time we're going to go back into Dux-Soup again. We'll go again to our queued activity, and hopefully all things being equal, there we are at 5:25. We have just queued up that message, all going well so far. Fingers crossed it's going to continue. The technology is cooperating so far, so we shouldn't count our lucky stars, of course. Anyway, so back here, we've got our Dux-Soup Live environment where we can trigger those responses. Fantastic, because we can then handle those. We can do the enrollments. We can do the, oh, sorry, wrong button. We can do multi-select here as well. We can unenroll, we can enroll message, etc. We can message in bulk here, which is super handy. So if I've got a selection of people here that I want to, for example, send a message to, I can do that in bulk from here, exactly like our other CRM integrations there as well. But of course, if you want to look at the detail of the contacts in a little bit more detail, you go into, of course, to the HighLevel contacts here. And yeah, you guys are probably much more familiar with HighLevel than I am, and you probably have a much greater grasp of the customization available within this particular platform. So what we've done in this session so far is we've talked about how to set up each of the integrations. The Slack one I found super easy. The GoHighLevel one I found really easy. The Teams one takes a little bit more effort because of the complexity of the managing apps and downloading that zip file, etc. So there is a little bit more complexity to Teams. We've talked about the configuration and the options here within the Dux Dash, within the app connections here, all of the different options that are available to you here with regards where messages are going to appear, or which contacts are going to end up in your CRM. And then once those prospects are in your chosen platform, how to handle them. Within Slack and Teams, it's super straightforward. You just look at the message and press the appropriate button. Or indeed, you, the other thing, of course, is you, within HighLevel, but slightly more complexity there, but you're getting much more contact information. You're using HighLevel in a different way. I'm going to stop sharing my screen a moment and go back to the slides. So you decide which prospects make it to your chosen platform. You decide on the actions that get taken from within the platform, and Dux-Soup does them. And remember, all of these integrations are included in Dux-Soup Turbo and Cloud with no extra cost from a Dux-Soup perspective. So these are all just part of the package. There's no add-on costs from a Dux-Soup angle at all. All you need is the appropriate Slack, Teams, HighLevel account in order to be able to handle all of this. So the idea here is to try and make that handling of lots of messages coming in as straightforward as possible, how to get the data that you want where you want it, and yeah, so hopefully simplifying your processes, and that's the idea behind all of this. Joe, do we have some questions?
Well, at the moment, we've only got one. So if you do have questions, get them in now, because otherwise we'll have finished and we'll go home early. So the question I've got is from Poppy. Poppy, yeah. I've just sent you a clarification query back, but I think I've got it right. So she says, my drop down to select the Teams channel says no data available. How do I create a Teams channel and then connect that? So I'm assuming by Teams channel, she means MS Teams and not Dux-Soup Teams.
Yes. Now, actually, I had a similar problem earlier today, and I found it was, I don't know if Poppy's using this through the Teams app or through the Teams website. I demonstrated here through the website because there are some known issues with the Teams app at the moment when it comes to handling channels. If you look up, I was Googling earlier today, exactly this same issue, Poppy. I couldn't find, well, where have the channels gone within the Teams application? When I went into the, oh, let me show you. Let me just
yeah, she was in the Teams app, she said, so yeah.
Yeah, that sounds like you got the same problem I did. Yeah, there we go. Hopefully I can share my screen. I apologize, I've got it on dark mode, but there we go. So you can see here, yeah, this here, under my environment here, this was created by default, this general channel here. I've not yet got it working within the Teams app because I couldn't get to my channels within the Team app. But I believe it's a known problem. If you go into a couple of the help environments on the Microsoft website, there is a way of clearing your cache and then doing something with the settings. I tried following it and it didn't work for me earlier today either. So that's why I resorted to the Teams web environment, which appeared to show me my channels in a much more enlightening and rewarding way because they actually appeared.
You actually got to them. So it sounds like it will work in the Teams app, but today is it being a bit glitchy, or there's some work?
No, well, no, I think that there's been a known issue with channels in the Teams app for a while, and it's yet to be fully resolved. Is what I read into it earlier.
Okay, so Poppy, try it through the platform rather than the app then. Hopefully that will sort you out. Oh, look, they're all flowing in thick and fast now. So Nick has said, can you stage social media messages to post automatically through Dux-Soup?
Sorry, can you say that again, Joe?
Can you stage social media messages to post automatically through Dux-Soup? He's talking about GoHighLevel in particular.
I don't believe so, no. I'm not familiar with GoHighLevel to be able to answer that question from a GoHighLevel perspective.
Okay, if you give it a whirl, Nick, and you find out otherwise, let us know. Right then, that one I can clear from Poppy. Tom, can you integrate multiple CRMs to one instance of cloud, e.g. integrate GoHighLevel and integrate SharpSpring in the same instance?
Yes, I've had many integrations where I'm trying to remember what they all are. Let me have a quick look a second. I've certainly had Salesforce, HubSpot, Pipedrive, Fresh Sales all working in parallel against the same Dux-Soup account. Absolutely. So all it is just data being dumped into whichever environment you so desire. So yes, it's absolutely possible to run all of these in parallel. Yes. Okay,
fabulous. Who else have we got here? So there's two requests here, one from Becky and one from David, asking about other platforms to get on the integration list. What's the best way of requesting things, Giles?
There is a website, which is, and if you're all listening carefully, I don't know if there's a way of posting this on anywhere. What I'll do is I'll put the website into Slack for you, Joe, and then you can send it on. There's a website, feedback.dux-soup.com. That's feedback.dux-soup.com. Fire away. See how your luck is. It's basically driven by user demand or specific scenarios. So we had a very significant customer who required the Slack integration, for example. And we worked alongside them in order to deliver that, and that was a particular key deliverable there. So that was one that drove that. So there are always reasons to introduce various different platforms. So but we're hoping that we will be able to increase the portfolio in that respect as well. It would be nice to be able to add more to there, because doing things through Zapier and Make, yes, it gives you lots of possibilities, but it can also give you headaches for managing it.
Yeah, and as Giles said, we do respond to user requests. So David and Becky, I've sent you both the link there. And for anyone else,
hi David, nice to see you there. Yeah. Cool.
For anyone else, if you have a specific request, definitely put it in there, because you probably won't be the only one. And that means obviously the more people request something, the more it gets on our radar, and we can look into making it reality.
I see a question from Martin there. Is there any capability within HighLevel to trigger actions using their automation workflows for Dux-Soup? Hand on heart, Martin, I don't know. It's the absolute honest answer to that one. I will look into that further, and we'll get back to you. Hopefully, we've got your registration details. So I will follow that one up with our support team and make sure you get the appropriate answer.
Martin,
my familiarity with HighLevel is not the best yet. It's one that it's a steep learning curve for me, that one.
We will email you, Martin, via the email address you've registered here, just in case you've got a different one. Check that one. John has asked, my drop-down screen on Dux-Soup to select LinkedIn to connect. LinkedIn is not listed.
My drop-down screen on Dux-Soup to select LinkedIn to connect. I'm not sure I fully understand what you mean there, John, because Dux-Soup wouldn't be selected, wouldn't be available there. Let me just share my screen a second. Becky, I've just sent you the link to the web page. Hopefully that resolves that one for you. Let me just share my screen again for John a second. Let's do that. There we go. So this is the feedback page, which I mentioned just now, in case you want to go back in there and have a look. Let me read John's. My drop-down screen on Dux-Soup to select LinkedIn to connect. You don't connect LinkedIn through here, John. Dux-Soup runs against whichever LinkedIn account you're logged onto within your Google Chrome environment. Now, at the moment, within this Chrome environment, I'm logged on with this particular LinkedIn. So anything I automate with Dux-Soup will get automated against this here. I don't go through a process of linking my LinkedIn to my Dux-Soup. It just is working within that Chrome environment. Hopefully that answers that particular question. But if you've got more particular areas of concern, or you need some help setting up, please feel free to reach out to our support team. Best way to do that is actually to go to these pages here, our support.dux-soup.com, and in the bottom right hand corner there's a live chat option with our support team, and they will be able to hopefully help you along the way and get you up and running as quickly as possible.
I've also sent you, John, the email address there, and I think in the resources section, I think I've still left a getting started with Dux-Soup link, which will also show you that initial step, John. So hopefully between all of those, you've got it covered.
But let us know if we can help further, John. Please feel free to email us, and we'll get you up and running.
Yeah, absolutely. Giles and myself are also up there as on our bios. So I think my LinkedIn URL is there. I'm not sure whether yours is at the moment, Giles.
No, I don't think it is.
But feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn, and I can always put you in touch with Giles. Oh, John says thanks. You're welcome, John. So do you want to just whiz through the support services that you offer? Yes.
So just so that everyone's aware, so as part of the package with Dux-Soup, whether you've got a free account, a paid account, a VIP account, whatever it is, there are free support calls available if you're stuck. If things aren't working as they should, then you reach out to our support team. They'll try and help you via the medium of virtual chat. If they can't fix your problem, then we'll set up a call with either myself or Scott or Lavinia. One of us will then jump on a call with you to make sure you're everything's working correctly, or for us to help us solve whatever issue you may be encountering. If you're looking for additional sort of more consultancy assistance and you're not a VIP, part of the VIP plan, in other words, you haven't got multiple seats, let's say you want to maybe help building your solution, or you want help integrating or some stuff like that, looking at your processes, we do have these booster sessions available. Super handy. We try and give as much care and attention to everybody as we possibly can to make sure that you achieve what you're trying to achieve in building your processes and understanding how everything's working. So yeah, we've got a couple of options there to be able to have a booster session or a booster pack. Complete flexibility there. Try and make sure that people are getting the most out of the functionality that is there. But yeah, if you're stuck with a problem, then a support call would be the starting point, or email the email address there at the bottom of the page, and our support team will guide you in the most appropriate way.
Yeah, absolutely. The next session is an invitation only session, and that's in 2 weeks' time. That's Maximize Your Sales NAV ROI with LinkedIn Automation. So if you haven't had a message in your inbox, then there's a good chance that you're not registered with us as being a Sales NAV user. So I mean, by all means, give us a shout and let us know if we should have got in touch with you, because we'd love to have you. And after that one, so we're kind of talking 4 weeks' time now on she says, there we go, now it's up there, on the 5th of May, we're going to be having one of our 15-minute mastery sessions, creating first-degree campaigns with Dux-Soup. So we'll be looking at how you can create those campaigns using the free trial, Pro, Turbo, or Cloud. So we're going to cover all bases. I'm going to time Giles down to a T, give him a minute on everything.
Hey, the last one was pretty good. It was under 20 minutes, the last one. So there we go.
Yeah.
You know, the last 15-minute one was.
So if you want to register for this one on the 5th of May, then the button on the right of your screen will take you to that, and it gives you a few more details about what we'll be covering there as well. And all that's left is to remind you, we love to have your reviews. And if we do get a review on Trustpilot or G2, then we will chase you in the nicest way possible so that we can give you one of our limited edition caps. So if you put today's date on, then we know that you've come from the webinar. And if you leave a nice review, then we'll get back in touch with you, see what colour you would like and where you would like it to be sent. So do leave us a review, because they're always really handy for new customers as well. And that's it from us. So thank you, Giles.
You're welcome.
To our lovely
thank you to everybody who's been attending.
And we will see you back here in a few weeks. Take care, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Have a good week.
Bye.
Bye.